The city was a constant roar, far too loud for someone like Eli who just wanted silence. But silence was all he had inside the walls of apartment 47B. Every morning, he'd watch the blur of people below, living lives that seemed so much brighter and fuller than his own. His coffee would go cold on the counter. His music would stop halfway through a song, and the apartment would just echo with the sound of his own sighs. It had been a year since he'd lost his wife. A year since his world had stopped turning, and the world outside his window didn't seem to notice. One gray morning, as heavy clouds hung low in the sky, Eli heard a sound. Tap, tap, tap. Tappy turned toward the window. There, on his balcony rail, stood a raven. Its black feathers glistened with rain. Its head tilted with curiosity, and its eyes, though sharp, held a surprising warmth. "Go on," Eli muttered, waving a hand dismissively. But the bird didn't budge. Instead, it hopped a little closer and pecked again. Tap it against his better judgment. Eli slid the balcony door open just a crack. "You're persistent, aren't you?" it whispered. The raven let out a single caw, almost like a quiet laugh, then spread its wings and soared away, leaving behind a small, silver button on the rail. Eli frowned. Weird bird. The next morning, the raven returned. This time, it brought something shiny, a coin. The day after, it was a bottle cap. Then, a piece of blue glass that caught the morning light and sparkled like a jewel. Every single day, it came with a little gift. And every day, Eli found himself talking to it a little longer. He started leaving a saucer of water on the balcony. Soon, crumbs followed, then seeds. He even gave the raven a name. Midnight. Every morning, midnight would arrive. Tapping, hopping, cawing, and just listening. And slowly, Eli started to laugh again. Just a little at first, but it was a start. Weeks turned into months. Eli started leaving his apartment more often. He picked up his paintbrushes again, something he hadn't done since his wife passed away. The very first thing he painted was midnight. Wings spread wide, eyes bright with life. He hung the painting right above the balcony door. Soon, neighbors started to notice a change in the man in 47B. He was smiling more. One afternoon, he heard a child point up at his window and say, "Mom, look, that's the man with the talking bird." Eli chuckled to himself. "Talking bird? You're famous. Midnight." The raven cawed, as if in proud agreement. Then, one stormy night, thunder rattled the windows. Eli waited, pacing nervously by the door. Midnight didn't come. "Where are you, my friend?" he whispered, staring out into the driving rain. The night stretched on, heavy and endless. By morning, there was no tap on the window. No sound of wings. Who's that old familiar silence? That day, Eli didn't eat. He didn't move. He just waited. And then, tap, tap, tap. Eli rushed to the window. There was midnight, drenched and trembling, clutching a tiny white feather in its beak. Eli gently opened the door. "You're hurt." Exclaimed. He carefully dried the shivering bird with a towel, his own hands trembling. "Why'd you come out in that storm, you foolish thing?" The raven only blinked, weak but alive. It rested its head on his hand. And for the first time since his wife's passing, Eli cried. He cried. Tears of pain, tears of relief. Tears for all the silent days he had endured, and for the unlikely friend who had reminded him how to feel again. From that day on, everything changed. Eli painted everyday skies, wings, light, and joy. People started buying his art. Neighbors stopped by to visit. Laughter filled the once silent apartment. And always, right beside him, was Midnight, his black-winged companion who had brought all the color back into his gray world. Years later, when Eli was an old man, he would often tell the story to the children who visited his blooming balcony garden. "Never underestimate a small act of kindness," he'd say. A gentle smile on his face, even if it comes from a creature with wings. And sometimes, as the sun dipped below the horizon, a raven's shadow would sweep across the balcony. Eli would look up, whispering, "Thank you, old friend." Sometimes, healing doesn't come from where we expect. It comes from unexpected friendships that remind us we are still capable of love, laughter, and hope. If a small act of kindness could change someone's world today, would you be the one to give it? Thanks for watching. If this story touched your heart, please like and subscribe for more. See you next time.